Hi, it's Jane. It's day 28 of 40 Days of Tenderness, and I'm really excited because I just met with a meetup group. I held it at my house, and I did a kind of the way I work with painting in this like shamanic way. I did it with a group for the first time. I usually do it just on my own or with for one person. So the topic was because of that experience with the painting where I was painting. I thought I was going to paint Mary Magdalene, but then I ended up painting this yoni with a being inside it and another being kind of like saying, "Look at this." And I wasn't sure what it meant. And so I was sitting with it and I thought, you know, this would be a good topic for a meetup group, like to, because I'm realizing more and more how much we need each other. We are not meant to, we need each other to reflect each other, the parts that we can't see, and the multiple perspectives so that we can have a greater perspective than what we can have on our own. So I thought, well, maybe something will come through with this, with other people's reflections. And also, it's a topic, this idea of what is dead in our life, what old structures need to fall away, and shame being a big one for me and probably other people. And then what wants to blossom. It's like spring, what wants to come back to life, what wants to be resurrected. Um, and again, I was really interested in that one moment when Mary Magdalene realizes that the gardener is Jesus resurrected, and he calls her name and she wakes up, and it's like that moment of pure possibility when you're like, can this be real? Like when your life can shift because something that was beyond your imagination just a moment before is happening. That's the moment I'm interested in, and that's actually every moment. So it's just about seeing it that way. It's just about recognizing the miracle, right, in every moment. So that's what I wanted other people to experience it, and I wanted us to experience it together. So, like we went through a meditation, and then while the group was reflecting privately on like what came up for them, I kind of had the intention to channel the group energy and work on that painting to see what came out, because the painting is like it's connecting us to the part of us that knows that we're all one, right? It's like the painting can speak to each individual person and to all of us at the same time. And it allows us to see something that we can't necessarily see from our minds, right? It's beyond the mind. So, and yet when each person starts to vocalize what they see, then it can be integrated. Okay, so what was interesting is like I started feeling really exhausted earlier in the day, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be tired for this event, and I'm eating less and less, and I'm gonna go, I think, to juicing or just not eating solid foods tomorrow. So I decided to meditate, and actually, instead of a normal meditation, I just felt my feelings, and it was interesting. It was like I could feel like this tension or blockage moving from my heart and then down to my solar plexus and then my throat and then down to like my sexual center. And as I sat with the sexual center and the energy started to kind of like dissolve a bit, I could feel it in my throat. And these centers are so connected, right? They're like twins. The openings, right? Creative expression. And this thing of this sexual creative center having been silenced in so many ways and wanting to be voiced. And that was what that painting was previously showing me. She wants to be seen and talked about. And but then I had this like really for me, because I in other videos I've talked about layers I'm working through where like places of numbness in the sexual area are opening up because of some integration with like past experiences in my life. But this time when I was in observation of that area, I asked what that collected energy was, and it said it's sadness, but it wasn't from this lifetime. It was from other lifetimes. So of course I'm like kind of thinking, oh, is it like some kind of trauma, like I was raped or prostitute, just like going to the worst things because it's so common actually, especially in the past and now. And but it said what it was speaking to directly was not that. It just said that I was sad because it hadn't been a source of pleasure, So it wasn't like I was traumatized. It just, that area was not explored for pleasure. And so I had this like spiritual experience where I was feeling. So I said, okay, well, what do you want and need? And it said play, right? So obviously you can see where this might be going. I'm like, okay, am I like just masturbating? And something like that. But it had this spiritual element where it was like this Christ energy, just the divine masculine, was present, and it was like this passionate feeling that it was just so, unlike the way that I usually think of spirituality. It was very like I wouldn't say visceral, but the energy behind it was passion. It was passion, and like I could feel like God saying like I'm passionately in love with you, like I desire you. And it was really amazing. And I was like, oh, so I was like, okay, this is going to be my practice every day to like feel that connection. And I realized this is the split, right? This split between spirituality and the body, between desire, like real desire, like body desire, not just like the desire to fucking awaken, like the real awakening, right? Like, again, just like full integration, no separation. You cannot be separate and awaken. Or I don't want to awaken that way. And so that was really interesting. Anyway, so then after that happened, I was not exhausted anymore. And then in this meetup, I started painting, and then the people that were here started talking about what they saw, and it was just so fascinating. It's just, I'm really glad I trusted the energy, the divine energy that comes through to do this, because it was really this like really sacred, beautiful experience to just be with people in this place of trust and communion, and I felt like we all just felt so happy and present, just to be witnessing. And the most magical thing for me was, so usually I do this on my own, or I look at it first before another person interprets it. But this time, everyone else interpreted it. So when I looked at it, I was seeing what they saw, and I was like, I wonder if I'm going to be able to see my own thing. But one man, he saw exactly what was happening here. Meaning he saw us as figures sitting in this circle and talking, and it was amazing. It was like this, these kind of like crazy, like prophetic, like when life imitates art, and it, just our power as creators, like like in real time, that someone else could witness this too. And um, like this feeling of destiny and perfection, you know, when you can experience in the moment that life is truly reflecting you inside out, and then, at the end, after everyone talked for a while, he said, "So what do you see? You haven't shared what you saw." And is a dragon. I saw a dragon, and the dragon was coming out of these remnants, which were things that are dead in my life, like false humility. I had collaged it in the back. False humility, control, shame, guilt, and this dragon is just like, it just emerging. And again, emerging has been a big word lately for me, just like illumination. Like, instead of forcing or pushing, or problem solving, like creating through illumination and allowing something to emerge, like in its natural state, with no obstruction and no resistance. And also the dragon coming out of this, what everyone else here had seen, and our communion, and the dragon just being such a symbol of many things. Like, I saw a dragon when I first when I did my art residency, and I first started to integrate, well, what first started to really see that art and healing are one thing for me. It was a red dragon that I saw, that was kind of ferrying people across the divide of the unknown to enter a new reality. And um and the dragon is like very young energy, and I feel like that's what's coming up. It's like being grounded and like committing to myself, and all these energies from a place of tenderness, but it is still this it is tender, and yet it's very strong. Or not yet, because it's tender, it has true strength. And that, I think, is what is I've been lacking. I've in my effort to in my fear, in my effort to like protect myself, or because I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel protected, I would actually overexert and force things and plan and control to try to feel safe. But now that I'm actually taking responsibility, and and just trusting myself, because I'm seeing that I can trust life, then um my true power can actually like emerge. And yeah, and this whole, like, it's a time of Aries, and it's just time to, yeah, take up space and um reveal my power, and allowing like the masculine, just linking in this with the whole, this is not what I expected to come out. I didn't know what would come out, but I didn't I mean, I didn't think about dragons when I saw that yoni thing. But yeah, like allowing the divine masculine in me to uh love me up, love me up, so that my true power can emerge. Because, see, creative power is yang energy, right? Creative power is yang energy, but it's also very yin, because it's like the Shakti and Shiva, right? It's kind of opposite from the way I think we think in the West, of like, feminine being passive. It's actually active. It's actually the active force, and the masculine is what protects and sustains it and allows it. So um yeah, it's like the feminine the feminine power in me really, really emerging through this love making with the masculine.